Great. All right, guys. So this open house has been sponsored or is being brought to you by DevOps Plus Plus Alliance and Agile Testing Alliance, and this is actually brought by CPDOF program. Okay. This is the agenda for the day. We will have a very small round of introductions. I will introduce the mentor for today. Then Prashant will take over you for the next 2 points, and then we'll open questions as well. So during this session, anytime if you have any questions, request you to raise your hand, and then we'll take it. So I would request take your questions. We'll take your questions at the end once basically the implementation and the pipeline demo is completed. Okay, would that be okay with everybody? Rather than writing down anything, you have freedom to speak, and we want this to be an open house. The whole idea is that we want you to interact with us. Okay. With that, I would like to basically introduce Prashant. Prashant is a dear friend and one of the best DevOps guru, and also now he is a AI and machine learning enthusiast. Very kind-hearted guy, humble guy with large number of experience under his belt in the telecom domain. But I think the overall journey of the way that he teaches people and the way that he mentors people, I think that he has mentored more than 250 or 300 people in the CPDOF only. Plus, he actually is a visiting faculty at various universities, and he does training programs all across the globe. Amazing person, amazing personality. I'm sure that today's session would be something that you can really learn from. Feel free to ask any questions. I'm your host Aditya, and I'll hand over to Prashant now. Prashant, I'll unshare the screen, and please go ahead from here.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Adi. I will take over. Yes. Just confirm to me, guys, before you can see the screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so guys, I think this session is not about me, but it's about DevOps. So thanks, Adi, for giving a quick introduction. So guys, we will jump into it because as Adi said, I'm very passionate about in general, this training. After 20 years of being in IT world, I thought it's high time that I jump into this, and with help of Adi, I have been delivering multiple sessions on DevOps. But again, you will see we will not spend too much time on presentation. This is exactly like how we run our CPDOF program, which is the background because of which we are doing it, just to give you a glimpse of how hands-on the course is. You will see today also, after setting up the context for a few minutes using presentation slides, I will be jumping into the technical stuff, and this is exactly what experience you will also get. So of course we cannot do it's a 3 days program eventually, so 24 hours of delivery including breaks. In this half an hour or so, whatever glimpse of the program that I will give you, it's the crux of it. But again, there is a lot of things that learning will happen during the actual course. But as it's DevOps, let's first, as it's a heterogeneous group most probably, so I have to do some context setting of what is DevOps. So we have prepared 3 to 4 slides, just bear with me. So before we jump into DevOps, in general, guys, we started erstwhile the way it was being developed. It was used to be waterfall. The problem with waterfall, or whatever phase it was in early 90s, or whatever phase we are talking about, people had time and people had patience. So every cycle of deployment, which is basically a production kind of a thing, getting upgrades, used to happen like 8 to 9 months. Okay, I remember, I am part of telecom industry for 20 years. I have seen a cycle of 9 to 12 months after the business has thought of a requirement, that they used to expect that it will reach production in maybe 9 months, in the best case scenario 6 to 9 months. And in the current scenario, it is surely not possible. So eventually, to make things move faster to production, Agile was developed, in which the cycle of months was tried to reduce to weeks. Okay, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks sprint. But even in Agile methodology, eventually people realized that things were being developed fast, but making them reach production was still a challenge. And there always used to be a backlog because production support or ops people had their concern around stability, while development was trying to build fast and pushing it to production as fast as they can, so that they can work on new functionality. So in Agile, it partially solved the problem of time, more respect to, I would say, at a high level. Again, it's a very nutshell kind of a thing I'm saying, what Agile tried to solve, but it kind of more or less left out ops side of the house. And then came DevOps, okay, which said that it is we would like to highlight that DevOps is very much a complementary to Agile, and you surely need to be Agile in general before you can try for DevOps, okay? Because that's exactly like if you want to run, you should be able to walk fast, okay? So in the same sense, actually, if you are able to go agile well, the DevOps could make your ops side of house and all the silos could be broken and made it into, and even your IT operations kind of come, and now the cycle of which was months in a waterfall reduced to weeks in agile, it's tried to reduce to, let's say, in days or minutes or seconds or whatever you can think of, depending on what you need. Again, I would not say you can be DevOps only if you put things in production every minute. Okay, of course there are companies which may need that. Okay, companies like the Amazons of the world and Google of the world, or Netflix and whatever players we see, YouTube and all that, we see the contents changing so fast. Not everybody needs it. All DevOps is talking about is that you break the silos of different team of business analyst, tester, coding, ops, and eventually, in very simple words, there should not be a need to choose between stability versus new feature being put into production, and we should
Prashant, you're on mute. You'll have to
Yeah,
unmute yourself, I think.
I think your voice is not clear.
Prashant, please unmute yourself.
Oh, I think I somehow became muted. So I hope you were able to hear till whatever time I was talking about breaking the silos.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thanks, Harsh and Adi. So guys, again, it's all about, so DevOps is a methodology which is about breaking the silos. And basically, the thing is that in very, very simple words, there is no need to choose between stability, which is mostly the prerogative of ops guys, versus new feature development, which used to be development. So all silos needs to be broken and you get increased effectiveness from all the teams. So a quick thing about DevOps lifecycle before I jump into the actual demo. So it's like how the DevOps lifecycle, or in general, any kind of a development lifecycle. So business will come up with their use case, a development team will develop it using their tools, some kind of a source code management would be used. It would be done into some kind of a automated build, or what we call CI in terms of DevOps or whatever development methodology. There could be some kind of automated test scripts using Selenium or whatever tools your technology support, and eventually it gets deployed in whether a system test or an integration type of an environment, or a UAT environment, or a production, using deployment tools like Ansible, Puppet, Chef. And eventually this is about, so everything is continuous here. You see continuous development in this part, continuous integration of build, continuous testing, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. This is the crux of the whole story of DevOps in general. Now, how fast you want to complete this development cycle of feature, I will show you a glimpse of a CI/CD, which is called a continuous integration and a continuous deployment pipeline, which we build as part of our CPDOF program. Whether it's 10 participants or 20 participants, each of them is given an environment and they kind of experience this whole cycle. Of course, in this is slightly tough to manage because this uses some kind of agile methodology using tools like Jira or whatever to do use cases of business. We mostly start from development, but again, we know it's not everybody. So we take a Java program. We really don't develop new lines of code, because it could happen that people not from development background would like to experience this CI/CD pipeline. So for the sake of keeping the program simple, we take a basic Hello World Java program, on which I will show you today also in next 10 to 15 minutes as to how a CI/CD pipeline is built. So we will take a very simple Java program. We will make it pass through all the phases of software configuration version management or source code management, using tools like Jenkins to build it, using tools. Of course, Selenium comes here. For Selenium, we have a different program, which maybe Adi can talk towards the end. We don't cover the Selenium piece here because it's a big topic of its own and very much dedicated towards pure testing. So there is a different certification by DevOps Alliance for Selenium, which maybe Adi can touch upon towards the end. But out here, we of course cover automated deployment using Ansible, and then there is a continuous monitoring using a tool like Nagios. So all these tools are pre-configured in a Linux environment, mostly in cloud, and we take Ubuntu as our base OS. The machine is already having all software. We take the base Java program, which I'm going to show you now, and make a CI/CD pipeline which touches everything. Okay, in the interest of time, I have kept out Nagios for today, but mostly this piece of Git, GitLab, Jenkins, Maven, Ansible, you will see all of this in action very soon. So just to give you a view of what you are going to see in next 10 minutes. Okay, so there is going to, so we have a repo of Hello World program. As I said, this is mostly the same program that we use in our certification. So let me now show you the okay, so it's a Hello World. We create a Hello World, so all of people clone from here. So we start with Git. The program is already built. It is not something very big because we would like people to understand the CI/CD pipeline configuration, not like how complex the program is. And eventually, this is the whole code that it could be saying something like this is the actual war file deployed in a local Tomcat, as you can see on port 8080. So I have done all this setup yesterday for this demo. So we already have it deployed. It's on some kind of a cloud. I have taken Azure. We build everything. 8080 is the local Tomcat, and this is our app. And just to give you a scenario of that, you have a local setup of Tomcat versus we have also used Docker, which is an important piece in these days. So we give you a good exposure of containerization tool using Docker also. So this is a different port. You see 8899 on purpose. We have kept it different so that you can differentiate. So there is these things that are all in action right now. So there is a, as I explained to you, there is a local Tomcat, there is a GitLab, there is a Java code, there is a unit test happening, there is a code coverage happening. Again, I will not expose you to all this. This is just to give you a glimpse of all this. And there is Ansible also being used in background. There is shell script being used. So you will get hands-on experience of all these in those 3 days of training that we run. We will talk about the next program also shortly, but this is what you will experience. And Jenkins is our CI pipeline. So we have Jenkins running on port 9090. We have Apache local Tomcat running on 8080. There is a Docker Tomcat running on 8899. And we also expose you to something called artifact management. Artifact is the name given to output of your build. Okay, so as we have a Java program, the output of Hello World is a war program. So we even expose you to a bit of artifact management using a tool like JFrog. So basically, the scenario which I will show you is right now, let's say this is, there is a requirement change here. Okay, so rather than August, let's say there is a requirement that we would like this to be September 2020. I will show you a CI/CD pipeline triggering automatically. All I will do is I will just change a single line of code in whatever file of Java where it is required. I will change August to September and just push it to the GitHub repo. Automatically, you will see that using a concept called webhook, the GitLab is going to inform my Jenkins job. And in Jenkins, I have built all these jobs, which we kind of create as part of those 3-day program also. But for the, in the interest of time for today, I have already created a Jenkins pipeline. So it looks like this. Okay, of course, we individually as part of program make all these jobs. So let me quickly explain you what each of these job does. Okay, so this is just compiling. This is doing a unit test of the code. This is doing something called a code coverage. We use Kobertura for it. Like, it tells you how much line of your code is kind of tested or covered by your unit test. So we are using JUnit to test our Java code, which gets compiled. It's get unit tested using JUnit. It gets checked for code coverage. In interest of time, we are not showing you a code review, which we also do in the program using a tool like PMD, which means code review means it will find out any kind of Java related problems like you have undefined variable, you have used unused import. So we basically have another stage there. Then we package, which means basically deploy this into JFrog Artifactory, because DevOps talks all about even managing your artifacts, which means output of your build. And then we move to a deliver stage where we use things like shell script and Ansible to put it into local Tomcat. And eventually you could have in a real kind of a setup, some kind of a continuous testing using Selenium kind of a thing here. And then it may get deployed into a production kind of a setup for which we use Docker Tomcat. So basically, we have tried to simulate the whole scenario. In this, of course, the code review part in general, which we do, continuous testing part, and post this, there is a continuous monitoring part also as part of DevOps methodology, for which we expose you to Nagios. But in interest of this time for this demo, we have kind of covered 70 to 80% of. This is towards the third day. All of you are able to build this, and as part of building this pipeline during the program, you get exposed to all these phases of the coding, building using Maven, unit testing using JUnit, code coverage using Cobertura, code review using PMD, packaging in JFrog Artifactory, Apache Tomcat for deploying your war file, and Docker. And we slightly touch Kubernetes also, but more theoretically. Maybe if time permits, at time we show you a demo. But believe me, guys, 24 hours having an hands-on experience of 9 to 10 technologies. Of course, we keep it very, very hands-on. There is presentation, but 95% of the time we stay in only GUI of Jenkins, or I expect people in general that they should feel more comfortable with Linux. So you would be working on a terminal like this. Of course, we understand a lot of people are not very comfortable with Linux. So we have some workaround for people using, or we make it easy using easier tools like Nano, or we use Atom if you don't feel comfortable. But personally, I suggest people that do get a bit of basics of Linux, because it is heavily used in industry, and more comfortable you are with this kind of a thing, it will make you more ready for learning DevOps. But remember, guys, each of the tool which we are talking here, like we have seen Maven, JUnit, Cobertura, they have their own learning curve. Okay, don't think that in these 24 hours of session of 3 days you will be expert on each of these. This is a foundation program of DevOps, where you will get a fairly good idea of how these basics of how all this run using some tools and all. So let me show you how things will run. Okay, so very quickly, as I said, what I will do, I will push some kind of a code on purpose to keep things simple. I am using Eclipse here, which is one of the editor, but this could very well be done by, let's say, something like from command line also. So as I said that I will change something. So this is, guys, like, let's say a requirement comes that I have to change this code to September 2020. And I will show you that the moment I will do it, this pipeline of Jenkins, which is so-called CI/CD pipeline of DevOps, will get triggered automatically. I will just stay here, maybe refresh, and you will see that the 8080, which is a local Tomcat, after a point, once the pipeline is successful, you will see this become September. And eventually, after this job is successful, which is deploy job, you will see even your 8899, which is a Docker implementation of Tomcat in this Ubuntu environment. Even this will become September. So with this background, let me show you. I have changed this. I will just save this, and you see the file is changed. So I will just do a commit of this. So this is more like exposure to Git. I'm saying updated August to September. So this is like a user requirement has come, and with CI/CD pipeline, it goes through all the phases. All I do is commit and push. The moment I do commit and push, the flow is actually it gets hit here, okay, which is my GitLab repo of Hello World. And out here, there is a concept called I can show you also webhooks. Through this webhooks, what happens, I have defined a webhook saying that please trigger the compile job of my Jenkins. You see this IP and 9090, which basically says, so right now you see there is 8 pipeline. Let me refresh it and you will see a new pipeline getting triggered very soon. You see, this is the pipeline which has just now got triggered. Okay, blue means the job is yet to run. Yellow means it's running. So see how the pipeline got triggered using the concept of webhook. What I did, I pushed to the repo. The repo of GitLab informed the Jenkins, and Jenkins, as it was up and running, it started running. So you see your compile is successful, your unit test is successful, your code coverage also. I have not created a negative scenario here, so we will see everything passing through. After package, I will show you that right now. See, this is the JFrog Artifactory. This is one of the popular tools. The other one which industry uses is Nexus. Right now, see, there are 9 versions of Artifact. Let this package job get successful, and I will show you that there will be a 10th version, okay, which means our artifact management is in action right now. So let this go through, and after this job, I will refresh this and I will show you that this becomes September. And after the deploy job is successful, this will become September, okay? And let's see if the job is successful right now. So see, package is successful. So let me refresh this and let's see what is there, whether a new version of artifact is created or not. Okay, earlier you see there is a version 11, okay, right now, which has been created. 11. Earlier it was up till 10. Now it is 11. And let's see if our deliver job is successful. If the deliver will be successful, I am expecting that this August, the moment I will refresh, will become September. You see September? And let's see what's happening here. Right now, it is still August because our deploy job is still running. Okay, so this job is using Ansible, using shell script. We write code like YAML. I will quickly show you also that code. You see your deploy is successful. Now let me go and refresh this screen and you see this August becomes September. So basically, just to give you a highlight of the full flow, guys, what's happening? You do develop, so you use Java, you use Git, GitLab. These are all the tools that you get exposed to as part of, because we personally believe in DevOps Alliance that the more hands-on experience you get, the more learning you will have and the more recall value you will have. So then we have a build stage where Maven, JUnit, Cobertura, PMD is touched. Then in deliver, we already showed you a bit of JFrog, a bit of Apache Tomcat. Then we use something like deploy, where Ansible is used, a bit of shell script is used, and Docker is used to deploy also, getting a good exposure of containerization. And eventually we monitor our application through Nagios. And in general, till this part, it is mostly called CI. Then you have something called continuous delivery. You have something called continuous deployment and continuous monitoring. So you will get exposure to all these tools, technologies as part of those 3 days program. We build it on top of Ubuntu 18.04 mostly. You also get exposed to a bit of YAML because Ansible uses a playbook of which is written in language of YAML. We have a bit of exposure to XML because in Maven, it works with pom.xml, a bit of exposure to shell script. And in general, on the right side, I have mentioned these logos because we personally feel that you should get exposed to one or multiple cloud platform. Of course, GCP, we can use, you can use Azure. Right now, the demo that I'm showing you is on Azure. You can run the same demo on a GCP virtual machine because we are using infrastructure as a service of any of the cloud platforms. The base version is Ubuntu. So basically, this is a program in which you get exposure to all these tools, technologies in a span of 3 days. And with this, we open this to questions, and maybe I will move over to Adi. If you have any specific questions, we can. So this was a quick demo which I wanted to show you. You can see your Docker Tomcat is updated, your local Tomcat is updated. I quickly showed you artifact management and of course a pipeline which we normally create from scratch. But out here in interest of time, I already created it yesterday and ran it few times just to see everything is working fine. So with this, I rest whatever discussion I wanted to do, a bit of exposure to webhook and GitLab. Okay, so thank you.
Thanks, Prashant. Yeah, that's amazing. You actually did it so fast because we wanted to keep this as an open house.
Right.
Hello.
And we, yeah, hi. You can ask questions, guys.
Yeah, Prashant, Amit here.
Yes, Abid.
Yeah, I just want to, out of curiosity, I just want to ask a question. Like as you told in the CI/CD pipeline, so there are a lot of tools coming in place for a lot of different kind of activities, right?
Right, right.
So, so it means that we have to be well versed with all these tools, right? And to
See, if you
understand.
ask me tools, again, guys, remember if a DevOps engineer you're talking about, in general, at a high level, you should be exposed to all the tools. Okay. All the tools means at least all the phases. Now, remember, guys, the tools could change from project to project. Out here for build, we use Maven because we have a Java project. But if your technology would be Python, it will surely not be Maven. Okay. If it will be .NET, it will be something like MS Build. So I don't think you need to be proficient in all these tools because any tool you pick up, there is an alternative to it. Even instead of Jenkins, you could have a Bamboo or a Circle CI.
Right.
Instead of JFrog, you could have Nexus. Instead of Apache Tomcat, you could have some other web server.
Right.
Instead of Ansible, you could have Chef, Puppet, right? So in that sense, in Nagios, we could have other tools. So all we are trying to say here is at least learn the basics of these phases of life cycle, which more or less stay the same in every project. But of course, the underlying tools could change depending on the technology that you are using. And right now, a lot of companies are also moving to pure DevOps over the cloud platform also. So they have full end-to-end platform as a service solution also, where you will get exposed to not any. So what we are trying to expose you to is the popular tool in the industry. But said that, see, if you understand Ansible, again, it's a concept of continuous deployment, or let's say infrastructure as code. Now there is a concept of playbook in Ansible, but in Chef it is called maybe a cookbook, and the technology could be, instead of YAML, something else. In Puppet it is something else. Okay, but again, I don't think you need to learn all these tools in too much details. Depending on what is your day-to-day scope of work within DevOps lifecycle, accordingly, something with a testing background would maybe try to become more proficient in Selenium or test tools. Something from an ops kind of a background may try to, who's doing more deployment, may try to learn multiple deployment tools. Okay, and somebody from monitoring background who is looking after production, maybe look at Nagios or the other tools in the industry. So in that sense, this program is trying to expose you to basics of all these development life cycle, but doesn't mean these will be only tools. So again, and that is why in 3 days we expose you to these 9 to 10 tools, so that it gives you a feel of how things work. But eventually your learning curve will depend on the tool that your company is using or the team you are part of and the technology that the project is on.
Absolutely correct. Yes.
Okay.
So,
Great.
for example, coming from a testing background, as you told, so somebody coming from a testing background, he or a manual testing background, he don't have very good understanding of the code, what's happening in the code, like when the build is happening or the development is happening. So whatever a developer is coded in his program, so might be he is not well aware of, right? A testing
Right.
guy. Is it mandatory for a tester to understand the code piece of code also?
See, whether you understand the piece of code or not, but at least a person should understand that there is a build phase of the code. Now, of course, not everybody needs to understand Java or Python language, but said that if the repository is in Git, at least a tester is expected to have a knowledge of Git that he can put and at least work in a tool of CI where he could create a new pipeline and all that depending. And in that pipeline, the tester may write the testing piece of it. But if you ask me, in this corporate world right now, with all these new concepts of SDAT, which is, you know, the new, and SREs and all those roles, the more wide knowledge you have of the development life cycle, the better you are employable and better you can kind of highlight. But said that, each of these tools have their own certifications, by the way. Okay, so they could have 3 to 4 days program on individual tool you pick up, and you could have 4 to 5 days program just on that tool. And that is why.
Okay.
Yeah, just to add, basically it's a very powerful program, considering that I also came from the testing background. I realized that if you have the entire DevOps pipeline knowledge, it will definitely assist you in a big way. Even if you look at the way that we cover JUnit and we cover code coverage, that is on the on the left side. So when people say shift left, that is covered. The Selenium piece, we do explain where would it fit in, but that is something that can be covered in detail. How do you basically initialize Selenium? How do you run basically in Docker containers? All that can be done. So
Yes.
having this entire knowledge about Docker containers and how this happens over a Unix world, how does Jenkins work? How does GitLab work? I think that's a great exposure for everybody today.
Yes. Yes. Hi, Apurva here. I just wanted to ask a question. Hi, Prashant.
Hi, Apurva.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're able to recognize me. You are my director when I used to work in Amdocs.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. My question is, I'm working as an automation tester from the last 4 to 5 years. What is now? There's a challenge in front of me that I have to create a DevOps pipeline. But in that case, what happens is when I integrate a test job after the deployment stage, the test job has to run a specific amount of test cases where it needs to decide which chunk of test case has to be run depending on what kind of build is getting deployed. So is there any way where it can be parameterized in the DevOps pipeline?
Yes,
Yeah,
if you ask me, yeah, Adi, please go ahead. I think you are better answer.
No, if I tell it wrong, maybe you can add, Prashant. Apurva, this is Aditya here. Yes, you can.
Yeah,
You can define certain tags. Okay, and based on those tags, basically you can invoke it and you can parameterize that even in the Maven build as well.
Yes. The job I created is parameterized. I have added the tags, or these tags will only determine, right, which test cases are to be run. There need not be anything else to be done, right?
Yeah, and we can also look at other parameterization as well. So there could be much more dynamic angle that we can bring in depending upon what you really want to do. All that can be really done it in the way that the jobs can be invoked, and that can be taken as an input to basically run your test. In fact, how many browsers you want to run, where you want to run, how many times do you want to run, and how much parallelism you want to bring in, all that can be parameterized, and which versions you want to run, all that can be parameterized.
Okay. So these parameters, they need to be put as a part of pipeline, right? In some Python or some shell script, or as a part of the job parameters.
It can be both at the parameter level of jobs, plus it could be basically part of the configurations file, which basically determine what kind of build it is, and there should be some information which is available which determines what do you want to do with this build, right? And that is where you need to look at those parameters.
Okay. Thank you.
Guys, feel free to ask any questions. We have got half an hour and I'll be talking a little more about something quickly. So don't yet go. There is some interesting things yet to happen. So, but make sure that you ask any questions, guys. There are around 40 to 50 people here. In fact, there were 144 who registered. Great, basically feedback that we have got. So go ahead, ask any questions you have. Anything that you think is basic, anything that you don't have any understanding, or anything that comes to your mind. We are all here to help you out with your questions and queries.
Hey, Prashant, Vijay here.
Yeah, hi Vijay.
Hey, I had one doubt. So how the big data that is taken care as a part of CI/CD platform that starts from the development till deployment?
Maybe Adi, I have not worked much on big data. If you have, maybe you can answer this. But
I have worked on Hadoop and big data some time back. See, again, if you look at the way, it is all dependent upon what is the problem statement. So when we talk about big data, there has to be some kind of information that we are pulling in, right? And what exactly do we want to do with that? So for example, if we have large amount of data to play with, there has to be some amount of job that kicks in, whether it is Hadoop or something like Pig or Hive or anything that you call, maybe something else as well, right? That becomes your code base. And if you know that that is like here in this case, it's a hello world program. In case of a big data statement, if you have basically some data that you want to process and massage and then you want to extract something out of it, that becomes your programming statements, and that basically is the pipeline that you can actually build around. Plus you can combine multiple pipelines. So for example, if you run this, after that you want to invoke any big data pipeline, you can create dependent pipelines which can be invoked one after the other.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Adi, hi, Adi Prashant, this is Pankaj here.
Yeah, hi Pankaj.
Hi. I mean, I think the question was answered, but still I need a clarification. I mean, just to exactly to be on the spot. Okay. So in terms of, for example, we see multiple profiles of persons who are DevOps engineers or DevOps consultants like that. Okay. So having said that, a person who doesn't have at all a background of development and all, probably let's say is an operational guy, okay, and he's probably a DevOps consultant. So how does he fit probably in the current industry where probably there is a mandate in terms of having knowledge to the codes and exposure to Selenium and all. So so whether still he can sustain or how is it?
See, why not? Personally, if you ask me, this is a dilemma which everybody is facing. So again, as I said, guys, these are main phases of we are missing something like a continuous testing. And also, if you ask me, a person who is on the ops sides of the house, again, as DevOps said, doesn't mean it is in general, it is considered one team, but still there will be people who will be focusing more on the, let's say, right side, which is more towards production and ops, and the left side people. So nobody in DevOps, it is saying that a single person will start the first line of code and is responsible to take it all the way to production and monitor is also, that is too much to expect. So tools come to your help and it kind of make things automatic, but still said that depending on the profile you are into, again, as I said, the basic exposure of the complete CI/CD, which is called in DevOps, is always good and it is nice to have. But eventually you would be focused on one or two areas depending on which is your level of expertise and what your company is expecting. You cannot expect one person to have such a deep knowledge that he can take care starting from the requirement all the way to keep on monitoring it in production. Each team or a person in the team will have a role, and of course the more, let's say, generic knowledge you have of what the others do is going to only help you and not going to harm you. But said that, you will have to pick up your tools depending on what is your area of interest and your area of expertise. Not everybody would be able to become an administrator because you may need some kind of a Linux background, you may need a networking background and all that, and it's everybody has their own learning curve. So again, said that this program, that is why it tries to expose you to a foundation level of it, and eventually you have to pick in which of these tools you would like to go into advanced because you want to make your career there, and accordingly look for a profile which requires that kind of a skill. Maybe Adi, you would like to add something more?
Yeah. So see, look, from an ops perspective, if you look at where would you basically get this running, what kind of infrastructure are we talking about? So having an exposure to tools like, for example, Artifactory, or for example, Ansible, or for example, Docker, or for example, Kubernetes will give you that kind of an edge. Plus, as what we talk about, this entire pipeline gives you the terminology, the terms, the CI/CD, the tools, all those things. So when you basically look at this in 3 days, if I can pick all of that, I am very sure that there is no difficulty in picking any other area as well. Sometimes we get overwhelmed. So this program actually takes that myth out that you can't pick up these tools. So if you look at the DevOps world, there may be 5,000 tools. It doesn't mean that I have to actually, and Prashant answered that earlier, I have to pick up all those 5,000. You have to understand where things are fitting in, and they actually work more or less similarly. So if you understand the entire pipeline, if you understand one side of things, you can actually look at the similar tools, and yeah, this is where your exposure starts growing. You have to start somewhere. So don't get overwhelmed is our request. And if you go through something like this, you will be amazed that this is going to get you going very easily. It makes things simplified, very, very simplified. Prashant, right? Is that
Yes, exactly. So guys, I was just trying to show you some kind of it's a very popular chart. I think, is my screen still shared?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so see guys, this is like a
no,
chart by
Prashant, you have to share it. I was sharing it. You have to share it now.
Okay, just give me a minute. Share your desktop. Sorry. So okay, desktop. So guys, let me know once you're able to see.
Yes.
So guys, this is like, if you see the tools that are part of each of these cycle, this is coming from something like a Zebia Labs or something. I was trying to open their link, but it is somehow opening. So this is called like a table of DevOps tools. So they have a periodic table kind of a thing, if you will see. Let me try to reduce it a bit. So you will see guys, so the tools are too many, okay? And the phases are so many, and these are again not the complete exhaustive list of tools. But said that, like, as I can show you, what we are trying to show here is like in artifact repository, if you will see, there are tools like JFrog Artifactory is one of the tool, NuGet, Nexus. So similarly, we have tried to pick up using all our analysis using tools, like we have picked up tools for something like containerization. There are so many tools, even of course Docker being the most popular one, so we pick Docker, and Kubernetes we cover. In deployment, you will see tools like what we have tried to cover is more like Ansible, but there are other tools also, so many of them. So in that sense, tools are too many, and as Adi said, don't get bogged down by it. Pick up your tools which you want to learn, but this will expose you to more like the whole end-to-end picture, and then you pick up depending on your area of expertise which tool you want to learn. And in this era of learning, you have to be a quick learner to learn another tool suddenly if the industry is expecting you to learn it, because it's a continuous journey. It's not that any 3-day or a 5-day or a 1-month program is going to make you learn everything. It's a continuous learning journey that we are into if we want to stay relevant in the industry.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, got it. It gave a good picture. Thank you. Thanks to both.
Yeah, guys, go ahead and ask
So,
questions if you have.
Prashant, this is Sanket here.
Yes, Sanket.
So, Prashant, the thing is that, like I work in an automation project, and like in my previous project, what happens is basically, like as you showed related to the developer part, like they are pushing the code, but many times what happens, we don't collaborate with developers like this. Like maybe they are maybe in sometime a different company or somewhere. So maybe we, in that case, we have to, set up our own DevOps pipeline just for QA specific. But I don't know like how much justice does it do when it comes to like when we say like we are in a DevOps based project. So what are your thoughts on that? Because what I've done in my previous project is like we had set up a Azure DevOps pipeline, and then we had our self-hosted agents, and we were executing those on those agents, and we were able to get the reports. So, but I am not sure like how much does it truly stands to as a developer, because most of the time this is the case, because QA and developers people, they if they are not maybe in the same company, this two things go in a different, they work in a different direction.
So Sanket, I totally agree, but said that, the DevOps is a methodology which talks about collaboration and one team. Now, if the collaboration is not there between development and QA, even I have seen in a practical world scenario where we are still not into fully DevOps. Testing runs their own DevOps, operation teams run their own DevOps practices, and the development team, which may be a same company or a different company, run their own DevOps. So said that, I don't think we should lose hope there. We need to do automation of our piece, and eventually if the management level decisions are done, it's a top down thing. After a point you will need it, and the silos have to be broken, but that comes more in the terms of softer aspects and team building or whatever you can talk about it, and management level decisions and a cultural decision that you have to take. While these 3 days we spend more on the technical aspects, because the other aspects are beyond our control at times, and we have to see how to influence that. But for sure, if the teams are working in silos, the development, QA, and the ops, and creating their own DevOps pipeline, whatever in so-called tools technology, is surely not going to give you 100% of the benefit, but said that automation is going to give you whatever fruits that it can give within your limited scope of work. But yes, that is the reality we live in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions, guys? I have few more slides to quickly show. Yeah, go ahead, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Vijay again here. So this is one general question. So in order to be a DevOps engineer, right? So living apart development and testing. So do we need to come from a pure programming background? Does it develop DevOps requires good programming background?
See, personally, my take on it is that DevOps doesn't require you to be a program, but it surely expects you to understand how software development lifecycle happens. That much it is surely expecting. But of course, remember, guys, the story starts from development. So in that sense, we may feel it's a pure developer kind of a thing. But believe me, guys, I have seen testers being very good at the Selenium piece or whatever tools technology or whether JUnit piece they are doing. I have seen ops guys doing very good, writing very good shell script, good YAML programs like for Ansible Playbook or Puppet experts, and they bring their own value. It is no more that, of course, the story kind of starts from development, but said that after a point, even developer will feel that they cannot do the whole thing. Okay, so in that sense, if you ask me, DevOps is bringing everybody empowered. Of course, they need to work collaboratively and build the pipeline, but in general, that is why tool like GitHub or GitLab is going to help, because developers will write in the source code, which is more for development. I can show you also, guys, like in general, I have also created on purpose a separate repo for deployment. Now, this is not a developer's job. If you ask me, this is also being used. So there is a shell script knowledge which you will need, which not is a developer's thing. There is some kind of a YAML file which you need to write for an Ansible playbook. These are being used by my program only. You know, if you see in this pipeline that we have been showing you, this would be used. So in that sense, you have to kind of get exposure to these kind of things. Sorry, I was not sharing earlier. I'm presenting. So this is, you see, this repo is totally belonging to a script, and this is not a developer's job. And is it any less important than developer? Surely not, because this is what is deploying. Okay, and this is not something, and similarly a test script is not a developer's job. If you talk about Selenium, it could be that a person needs to know Java or Python. Of course, if that is the area you are into, I would suggest people to learn. But again, shell scripting, YAML, there are so many other things that you can learn, XMLs that you can be good at and be relevant in the industry. Not everybody needs to be a developer, if you ask me.
Okay. Yeah, it's and simple also. Don't get overwhelmed again, as I requested. So there's a question. I think Prahlad raised his hands before Tanmay. So Prahlad, if you are still having your question, can you please ask?
Yeah, Prashant, thank you. So actually, I just want to know, in the industry, when we call a person as a full stack, so how much is expected that he should know about the DevOps? Like how much percent he should know about the DevOps things?
Again, Adi, maybe you can answer, because this is very subjective, guys. Because
okay. See, again, guys, the terminologies are all being misused and broken here and there. But what I have seen is that if you look at the job requirements today, they say that tester with DevOps experience, a tester who has basically a specific knowledge about DevOps. So these kind of jobs are there, and they are calling it software development engineer in testing. You can call something else. Full stack is having a different connotation. Right. So for example, depending upon what happened today, I would say rather than full stack, it is all about understanding how the technology behaves and how do you basically are able to understand things as it's actually not too difficult to understand. So if I were to basically say somebody from testing background understanding this entire DevOps, and we say that we can actually make you learn in 3 days, how difficult would that be? And the problem happens is that most of the people actually get really scared. So we want to also make sure that through this kind of program we can take out that fear and which is basically hindering all of us. So don't get overwhelmed by the job requirement. Look at how basically jobs are asking for certain type of skill. Just don't go by the title. Look at basically what they're asking. If they're asking that, okay, you should know X, Y, Z, I think that is fairly not too difficult to understand. Okay, and somebody who is into an industry working for 5 to 10 or 15 years, you guys understand the entire dynamics and you can easily pick up any of these tools. So if 10 tools can be given an exposure in 3 days, I'm sure that you will be really happy to know that this is not too difficult. And a lot of people actually look at the curve. So what happens is 5 years down the line, you would definitely have to learn something or the other. But if you do it at the right at the beginning, I would not say it is right at the beginning now. It is right appropriate time that if we don't learn it, it is too late. So I would put it in that way. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have Tanmoy raising his hand. Tanmoy, can you ask, please?
Yes. So I'm a project manager managing agile projects as well. So like, how do project managers can gain value through this DevOps, and what portfolio they need to create so that they become lucrative in the industry?
Prashant, you want to take that or I can answer?
Yeah, please go ahead, Adi. I think you are better at answering.
No problem. So here I think what happens is as an agile coach or as a project manager, what is happening is these terminologies are very important, Tanmay. Okay. And even if you look at the way the projects are being delivered, they would have basically some or the other angle of DevOps involved in that. So having a knowledge about the entire pipeline, which basically if you look at the way that Prashant explained initially, Agile was basically something which is basically part of any development program, but only Agile is not sufficient. That is why this entire DevOps pipeline basically came into being. And as a project manager, even at 30,000 feet, if you have little hands-on knowledge about all these, this will give you that impetus which will basically make you succeed tremendously. In fact, we can make you talk to a few guys with 15-20 years. I will show you some testimonials shortly. Those are the guys who attended and they felt that this was something which was missing in their life, and now they're doing very well, and you should talk to them how it has really scaled up their entire exposure and how they're doing in their overall position right now.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we have another question from Harsha. Can you please ask?
Yes. Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Harsha, and I have completed, CP MAT from ATA last year, and I was aware like ATA is also they are taking DevOps sessions, and you in this session you told that you will be there is one 3-day training session is there. So I need more information on that training session, means what things you will covered and
Sure. Harsha, basically whatever Prashant talked about, this entire DevOps pipeline will be covered. Prashant is the trainer himself for that program. And see, there are a lot of people doing it and there are other programs happening with a lot of theory in it. This is the only program which is practical. I'll share a few slides, Harsha, shortly. Okay? Just hang in there.
Yes. And actually one more thing, when we go on any of the website, but there are multiple certification in DevOps. So I am a tester, and in my project I do some kind of deployment on Jenkins, but I am not aware of how to create the pipelines and other things. So from a basic point of view, which certification should I go forward to as a value add for my career?
This is exactly what we are trying to basically expose all of the people, because our marketing has been bad, and that is where Prashant suggested that we do this open house. CPDOF is the one program which I think Prashant can talk about the Amdocs story, how basically the entire Amdocs department, more than 400 people got certified across the globe, CPDOF only. And we would recommend that everybody who is into either dev or testing or even ops, CPDOF is one program which should not be missed, Harsha. Okay, and I'll give you a little more details shortly. Okay.
Yeah, and really I have been involved with multiple platforms right now in last 1 year, like even Edureka or Star Agile and all. I have seen what is their content. In general, we have got this feedback also that of course there are market level multiple certifications, but this is one of the most practical certification that we have been running. 95% hands-on and 5 to 10% that's it, focus on presentation, because we believe learning is when you kind of enter into the water, then only you can swim. And that is why we personally feel the experience has been very good, and that is the feedback that we get multiple time from the people.
Yeah. Yeah, there was somebody raising the hand. I don't know. It went down. Is there any question?
Hi, this is Sandhya.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Sandhya
have a
actually raised her hand first. Yeah. Sandhya, go ahead.
Yeah, so we have implemented in our organization Jenkins declarative pipelines, and I didn't see mention of Groovy scripting. So, do we use Groovy, or is it like something which is now legacy or something?
See, Groovy in general is used. This is a foundation program in which in our advanced program, which we will be launching shortly, there is Groovy also, but this foundation program doesn't cover. It creates pipeline using the dependencies. But yeah, there is a Groovy, and for sure it is not history. It is being used extensively. And as we said, guys, this is only foundation. So it's tough to cover everything. We have tried to balance it out because it already starts becoming a bit too much. So Groovy is not there currently in this program for sure.
Okay, and one more question. So what I see as a challenge here is we have like multiple as we develop, right? So we get multiple versions at the same time. Let's say there was a production issue and we are fixing it, right? So how do we manage that as part of CI/CD?
So that you're talking about branching in Git and all, right? So there could be
Yeah.
a different branch for feature or for defect, and also that for sure is again slightly advanced. We surely, as part of our Git, try to cover basics of branching, but branching is again something which depends on the strategy of your project and all that, but we expose you to the basics of it, and eventually pipeline can be made on any particular branch. We mainly work with the master branch here, but said that working with a different branch is only a question of changing the parameter in a job here or there, and accordingly it can be easily managed there, because for sure in a production kind of a setup, it will not be one CI/CD pipeline. There will be multiple CI/CD pipelines happening. But yeah, in a foundation program, we cover mainly the master branch only.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So we can go to the next person who had a question, and then I'll show you some slides. Okay. So
yeah,
Hello.
so hi, this is Kamar.
yeah,
I just
cover. Yes.
want to know. Yeah, so in this specific course, are we covering having these AWS pipeline and GCP pipeline as well, or we are just covering as a general continuous integration we are looking forward in this CPDOF program?
So CPDOF program runs purely on open source tools. Okay, we even if we may use, or this right side of picture about cloud is more for if using which of the as a virtual machine only, but we don't go to any of the specific cloud, because the open source is where we believe the future is. If you start using AWS, you will see instead of Git, it will be something like AWS code commit or something. And in that sense, even their build will be different. Their CI is not Jenkins. It will be something like code build. So said that there are different certifications for it, but this one exposes you using purely open source tools for your learning. That's what we cover as part of this program.
Okay, fine. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take one last question. Go ahead,
Yeah,
guys.
Radha here. Actually, I have 2 years experience in testing domain. So I just wanted to ask a basic question. So is Linux very much compulsory to work on, or we can work on Windows as well for hands-on of DevOps? Because like for configuration management, we use command line. So is shell scripting actually I joined 15 minutes late, so I couldn't get like is Linux is the only option, or we can use Windows as well?
See, we run our program on Linux platform because we believe it's one of the most popular. Of course, even Linux is very open-ended term. We are using Ubuntu. Now, if you will use CentOS or a RHEL, the Red Hat enterprise version, command could slightly vary. So personally, I am firm believer that we should try to get more comfortable with Linux. But this particular program, we have seen people with no Linux background can also survive these 3 days. We make it we try to make it that comfortable. People from non-development background or testing background have also very easily kind of picked up these tools by the end of third day, but said that whether in a real world scenario you can survive just with Windows or Linux, it very much is subjective question, but for sure it would be better personally if you ask me that you should try to be more comfortable with Linux. Not that everybody is expected to write shell script, but basic command line, the more comfortable you become with that, the better it's only going to help you.
Yeah, even for Windows, rather, what happens is that you would have to do things on the command prompt, and you would have to write commands. Okay, so whether you do it in a batch file or whether you basically do it in a shell script, the commands is something that is easy to know and run it. Okay, so as long as you are exposed to the command line way of doing things, it is not that difficult on either of the platform. Okay.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. So Sandhya, you have raised your hand again. Is that the old one, or do you have any new question? And we can just quickly wrap it up by showing the last few slides and the program details here. All right. So maybe can I share this screen?
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Adi. You can share. Okay, I will.
Yeah.
I don't need to unshare. Yeah.
All right, guys. So this is just to give you a little more background. Guys, just give me 5 minutes, and I'll will take a few more questions very shortly. Okay, just to give you some little background. So CPDOF basically, as we have been telling, is the only program which is first of all globally recognized. Most of the companies, in fact, Amdocs has got 400, 500 people certified in that. It's completely hands-on, 100% lab, tool-driven, covers the entire life cycle. You will experience it, and there is practical assessment. So no other body actually does practical assessment in any certification. ATA and DevOps++ Alliance are the only bodies which are doing it, even for the Selenium programs or any other web services programs as well. Okay, look, let me quickly show you. This guy is from Cyprus. He probably took training from one of the trainers. I don't know whether Prashant did it or somebody else. Amdocs says, I think other licensed trainers as well. Let me show you, okay? Quickly, I'll not take a lot of time. So I just wanted to show you at 3 minutes something. Yeah. Can you hear him or no?
No, we can't.
Okay, just a minute. Let me unshare the screen quickly. 1 second. Okay, let me again just show you. Can you hear now?
During the course, and I really like that. And I think it was
yes
for many people there, seeing as
maybe you can increase the voice.
Useful it was for them as well. Definitely. And the reason is that even if you're doing something kind of DevOps, people don't necessarily know what DevOps really is about always, or they think they know and they don't really, or not completely. So it's always a very good thing to have, and I would definitely recommend this course. Actually, in the company, when I came out of the certification, even without having the certificate yet, I gave feedback to my managers and colleagues saying, okay, I knew some of the things there, and I definitely know that lots of people would really benefit, and everybody in the company should follow with that training, because it gives, once you get out of it, it gives a much better understanding of how things work in our company.
Yeah. So I actually just wanted to give you an overview that, guys, we have not been promoting it that well, and that is the reason we did it. And this guy actually, Prashant, do you remember his name? Hemant, right? Hemant Mane, right? He is basically having,
Hemant
I think,
Mane, yes.
Yeah, 18 plus of years experience, project manager, and I think senior manager there. And I would request that you please go to this website. We'll share this link as well. You can hear him, what he says, and why it was important for everybody who is basically whether a complete novice to basically exposure to very high level, they have got benefited by this kind of a program. Okay. And the next program Prashant is doing it is starting on 25th. We have last few seats remaining. and we wanted to make sure that as part of this open house, anybody who has attended that or registered will get a special 10% off. So it is only 15,000 rupees, which is much lesser than any other program. This is one of the best programs, and on top of that, we would love to basically get your exposure here and get your experience done, and we will be helping you out, guys. Okay, and that's basically it is basically. If any other question, maybe I can. We'll share these slides as well, few books that you can actually go through, and basically this is what we wanted to do it. Prashant, do you want to say anything and any other questions that you guys have?
No, I think we have covered it quite well. And as you already said, we are not very good at marketing. I am part of so many other platforms, and I personally feel this is one of the best because we have quite done it very, very practically. But said that we are trying to make it a bit more popular, and each of the person we put focus, because normally the batch size is not very big here compared to what other online platforms have. And it's a 3-day full program, normally running from 2 to 10. We take only small breaks of half an hour, 45 minutes for a lunch, dinner, depending on whatever. We try to cover multiple geographies of Europe and India. And I think it's one of the quite hands-on experience program. That is the only feedback which we love to get from people, and we have always been getting it. That's it from my side.
Yeah, I think it's been fabulous experience for anybody who has gone through the program, and we strongly request you to basically give it a try. That's what our sincere wish is as well. Okay, any other question? Otherwise, we'll call it off. We had allocated 1 hour. Thank you so much, guys, for spending 1 hour with us. Any other question? We'll take it. Otherwise, we'll like to say thanks and share this presentation and this information again in the Telegram group as well.
Nothing. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Sorry, one question from my side.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, if I want to, I'm just going through this website, like you told to, registrations are going on.
Yeah.
So the session will be 25 and 27. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
And when will be the practical assessment?
Practical assessments you have to take within 1 week after the training programs. The training programs is very comprehensive, so the exam cannot be taken on those 3 days. We give you the cloud machine to practice, and you have to take the exam within 7 days.
Okay. Okay. And if I registered that, so you told that there is some discount. So what is the total fees for this course?
It would be now after the discount 13,500 plus taxes.
Okay. So on this website only I need to do payment like
Yes. So we'll give you the link. In fact, if Harsh is around, we will basically give a discount code after this. You can actually use that discount code. Anybody can register using the discount code, and depending upon the number of seats, whoever basically first come first serve will be able to use that discount code, and they will get benefited by basically registering at only 13,500.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I have Harsh email ID with me.
Yeah, sure.
I can drop mail to him. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
so overall duration is 3 days, right? The course
Yes. Yeah. 3 full days. So 8 into 3, and you get practice basically mock exams which you practice on the machine, and you basically can then take the exam within 7 days. So the learning is much more than those 3 days, because once you practice this entire pipeline on your own, you actually get your concept solidified. No one else does that the way that we do.
Hi, I just went online and it says that the class is already full.
We'll open it up if that is the case. I have not checked it out. Maybe we'll just give it a shot. Harsh, are you there? Can you see why basically it is showing it is full? We had allocated 4 or 5 seats from this basically program.
I'm offline and I can see I'm on the link and the tickets are available. I'm not sure whether the someone is checking the right URL or not.
Okay, so
Can you put the link in the chat box?
Let me paste the URL in the chat box once again. Give me a moment. So I've shared the URL in the chat box. You can just open it, and the seats are still available.
Harsh, you might need to create a discount coupon for everybody, and then you can share it in the chat and also in the group. Okay. So, Laurie, are you able to do that?
Yes, I'm on the site, but I don't have the code. Have you put the code in?
We'll just share. So,
Okay.
yeah. Are you part of that Telegram group? Basically, we did share that. Did you get our email and we requested you to join our Telegram group? Because that way,
Yes.
if you can be part of that, we'll be sharing the details and the recording of this session as well there. And we'll be there to help you out also. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, most welcome. All right, guys. So we really are thankful and grateful that you guys stayed till the end, and thank you so much. Hopefully, some of you will get benefited from CPDOF, and we request you to basically share this information with your friends. With that, Prashant sir, can we just sign off for the day, and everybody else as well? Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Really
Thanks.
appreciate.
Okay,
Thanks. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.